The topic for this video is the Chola kingdom. If you see in the map, by the 9th century almost all this area was occupied by the Chola dynasty. How did this happen? Basically, there was one chief family, chiefly means a big landlord, named Muttarayar. He held power in the Kaveri Delta. If you see in the map, here you have the Kaveri Delta. River Kaveri flows into Bay of Bengal. So the chief was subordinate of the Pallav kings of Kanchipuram. If you see in the map, this is the Kanchipuram. See, Kanchi is located here. And there was another chief named Vijayalya who belonged to the Cholas from Urayur. He captured a delta from Muttarayar in the middle of the 9th century. This is how he built the town of Thanjavur. So see here in the map you have Thanjavur, okay, and a temple for goddess Nishambh Basudini there. The successors of Vijayalya conquered neighboring regions and kingdom, thereby grew in size and power. All the neighboring dynasties like Pandyan, Pallavan, Cheras, all these were made part of this kingdom. Raja I, he was the most powerful Chola ruler. Okay, he expanded the control over most of the neighboring regions, and he also reorganized the administration of the empire. His son Rajendra I, he continued his policies and raided the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka and countries of Southeast Asia, developing a navy for these expeditions. So this is a new development. We have not seen such a development of navies for the expeditions by the kings. So now we will see another topic, Chola temples and bronze sculpture. So the big temples at Thanjavur and Gangaikonda, Cholapuram, it was built by Raja and Rajendra. These are known to be architectural and sculptural marvels. If you see in the figure, see here, you have a temple at Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. Notice the way in which the roof tapers. Also look at the elaborate stone sculptures used to decorate the outer walls. Chola temples, they became the center of settlements. Nuclei means center of settlements which grew around them. There were the centers of craft production. Okay, temples were also endowed with the land. Endow means to give property. They were given the land by the kings and others. Okay, and the produce of this land, it went to maintain all the specialists, means it went for the welfare and well-being of all the people who work there, like priests, garland makers, cooks, sweepers, etc. So in this way a proper economic and social life developed around the temples. Okay, and among the crafts, the bronze image was the most famous of the Chola period. They were having the mastery in making the bronze images. For example, this is a figure of bronze image. Okay, these are the most finest in the world. And while most of these images were of deities, we have also evidences for the images of devotees as well. And you should know that bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. Now moving on to next topic, agriculture and irrigation in the Chola period. Now, many of the achievements of Cholas were made possible through new developments in the agriculture. Why did this happen? Because it was the kingdom which was located on the Kaveri Delta. We have seen, if you see in the map, the river Kaveri branches off into several small channels before flowing into the Bay of Bengal, and these channels overflow frequently. Okay, and hence they deposited the fertile soil on their banks. So this is an important point. There was availability of easy fertile soil, and hence new developments in the agriculture took place. Now, although agriculture had developed in the other parts of Tamil Nadu, it was only from 5th or 6th century that this area was opened up for large scale cultivation, and hence agriculture on large scale was taken up around this period only. Forests were cleared, lands were leveled in areas. In the delta region, embankments had to be built. So what is an embankment? It is a wall to prevent flooding, and canals were also constructed to carry water to the fields. In many areas, 2 crops were grown in a year. In many cases, it was necessary to water crops artificially also. So now we have seen that there was a natural availability of water through Kaveri Delta, plus there was development of irrigation facilities also. What were the methods used for irrigation? Some wells were dug, okay, their tanks were constructed, okay, all this required planning. So many rulers and administration people, they started taking interest in these activities. And the next topic is the administration of the empire. Now there were settlements of peasants known as Ur. What was Ur? It was the settlements or a group of agricultural laborers. Okay. Now with the spread of agriculture, with the new developments in the irrigation, obviously it was the agriculture people or the Kisan who were to benefit. And the group of all such villages, it was called Nadu. Now the village council and the Nadu, they had to perform the many administrative functions like dispensing justice and collecting taxes for the kings. And also there was another group, that is rich peasants of Velala caste. They exercised control over the affairs of the Nadu through Chola government. The Chola kings also gave some rich landowners titles like Muvenda Velan, that is a peasant serving three kings, or Arayar, a chief, etc., as markers of respect to the rich landlords. Now, friends, there is a Chola inscription that mentioned that there were several categories of the land. For example, the land of non-Brahmin peasant proprietors, it was called Velan Vagai. The land what was gifted to Brahmins, it was called Brahmadeh. Land for the maintenance of a school, it was called Shalabhog. Land gifted to temples, it was called Devdan. Land donated to Jain institutions, it was called Palichandanam. Okay, so these are just some terms. Also, we have seen that Brahmins, they received land grants from the kings. It was called Brahmdeh. As a result, a large number of Brahmin settlements it emerged in the Kaveri Valley in other parts of the South India. Now, each Brahmdeh it was looked after by an assembly or a sabha of prominent Brahmin landholders. We have learned this in class 6 also. Sabha is called the assembly of Brahmin landholders. Okay, and these assemblies they worked very efficiently. Their decisions were recorded in detail in the inscriptions, often on the stone walls of the temples. Okay, they worked through the committees, sub-committees for different works like irrigation, temples, etc. And friends, there were another group that was called the Association of Traders, known as Nagarams. Okay, they also performed many administrative functions in the towns. We note that the Sabha it worked through the separate committees. For example, for irrigation works, there was a separate committee, gardens, temples, etc. They had separate committees. Now, how the members of these committees were selected? Okay, we will learn later what is the eligibility of the person to be the member of the committee. The process is given here. The names of those eligible, it was written on a small ticket of palm leaf and it was kept in an earthenware pot, from which a young boy was asked to pick the tickets one by one for each committee. So, now friends, this is a detailed account of how the member of the committee became eligible. They should have their own homes. Okay, they should have their own land from which land revenue was collected. They should be between 35-70 years of age. They should have knowledge of the Vedas. They should be well versed in administrative matters and honest. Okay, and in last 3 years if they were selected in any committee they cannot be a member, and they had to mandatorily submit their accounts as well as of their relatives also to contest the elections. Let us now solve these questions. So, do you think the women participated in these assemblies? No, they were not treated at par with the men. And are these lottery system useful? No, these depend on the luck of the people and they ignore the capability of the person. Now friends, so far we have read about the inscriptions that tell about the kings and powerful men. Now there was a 12th century work named Periya Purnam. It told us about the lives of the ordinary men and women. Now friends, if you read this paragraph, you will find that what were the activities that ordinary people used to do. And there was a small hamlets. Hamlet means the settlements. Okay, small settlements. These are smaller than the villages. Okay, there were small huts and agricultural laborers were there. And what were the activities? For example, if you read these lines, there was little chickens that moved about in groups. Dark children were there who wore bracelets of black iron, etc. Now, if you solve these questions, were there any Brahmins in the hamlet? No, there were no Brahmins because they belonged to high caste. Describe all the activities that you will find here. Why do you think temple inscriptions ignore these activities? So I have written this answer here because these were of low caste and outcast people, and temple inscriptions they were about the high caste people like kings. And Brahmins they always wanted to praise their patrons. Who are the patrons? These are the people who support the artist people, Brahmins, for their abilities, etc. through temple inscription, and they always showed the low caste people their low status. We will quickly revise what we have studied so far. We have seen that Chola kingdom it grew in size and power from a small state in Tamil Nadu. Now how did it happen? There was one chief family from Muttarayar. Okay, he held power in the Kaveri Delta under the Pallav kings, and there was one Vijayalya from Cholas from Urayur. He captured the power from the Muttarayar and established the town of Thanjavur. Then we have seen that all the successors of the Vijayalya they helped in growing the kingdom, and all the surrounding areas were brought in under the Chola kingdom. Who was the most powerful Chola ruler? He was the Rajaraja I, and his son Rajendra I. He also continued his policies. They sent the navy for expeditions to Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka, and etc. There were splendid temples and bronze sculptures which were the architectural and sculptural marvels. we have seen that these temples grew as a nuclei of settlements, that is, many settlements grew around them, and land was also given by the king, and these temples, they became the hub of social and cultural life. Now among the crafts, we have seen that bronze images, it was the most famous of the Chola dynasty. Bronze is a alloy of copper and tin. Now in the agriculture and irrigation, we have seen some new developments. For example, there was a Kaveri river which has many branches, okay. Then because of that, fertile soil was deposited along its banks. And there were also embankments that were built in the delta region. Why it was built? Because to prevent the flooding. And there were also canals that were constructed to carry the water to the fields, okay. And there were also irrigation facilities that were developed. For example, wells were dug, tanks were constructed, okay. And all these required planning from the high class people. They took interest in the planning. Now what was the administration of the empire? There were assembly of peasants known as Ur, okay, and a group of such villages, it was called Nadu, and these were directly controlled by the rich peasants of Velala caste under the Chola government. Then we learnt about the types of land. For example, this Brahmde, it was the land gifted to the Brahmins and etc. Now we also know that these Brahmins, they often receive land grants, and hence the large number of Brahmin settlements, they emerged in the Kaveri Valley. Now each Brahmde was looked after by an assembly of Sabha. Okay, what is Sabha? It was assembly of the Brahmin landholders, and it was very efficient, and it worked to the sub committees. And there were separate committees for irrigation, etc. And we also seen the members, how they were selected for the Sabha, and what was their eligibility, that we have seen here, okay. And then we learnt about the work of Periya Purnam. It was a 12th century work which tell us about the lives of ordinary men and women.